Hi and welcome to today's webcast with Loyal Solutions. With me to do a presentation I have CEO Peter and CFO Pernille. My name is Nils Johansson and I am from Finwire.tv and I will moderate this webcast. If you have any questions, please send them in via the form on the webpage and I will bring them up with the company after the presentation. If you look at this presentation when it's not live and have a question, you can send it in and I'll make sure it comes to the right person and they can answer it by mail. With that, I leave the word over to you, Peter and Pernille.
Thank you very much, and thank you for everyone who have joined the webcast. We will do a short introduction of our company for about 20 minutes and then open up for a Q&A. So we have built a software as a service platform called LoyaltyFacts, which is sold to B2B customers and enables them to increase their extra or ancillary revenue streams and boost any streams they have already. When we started, as any startup, we targeted any customers we could get, but we learned relatively quickly that we had to focus and have a global perspective. So we decided to focus up until now on three major industries that has problems that our software solution solves. So the first one we targeted is the airline industry. I have a long background in the travel industry where I have been CEO for some of the largest travel companies in Scandinavia, including Apollo and Kuoni. So it was natural for me to start here because I knew that in almost any frequent flyer program, like SAS Eurobonus, for example, about 80% of the customers don't travel very much. And therefore, the programs are not really relevant because in order to earn enough points to buy something you actually want, like a free trip, they say people don't travel enough, so they can't earn enough points. And this is a huge problem in the industry generally. The second sector is the hospitality industry or the hotel industry. They are being squeezed from two sides. One is, of course, the sharing platforms like Airbnb, which is taking away business from the traditional hospitality industry. And the other one is the dominance of what's called OTAs, which are online travel agencies like Expedia. There are two globally very dominant players in this industry, and that means that the commissions that the hotels are paying have actually gone up from an average of 9% before the internet to about 18 or 19. So of course, this is a huge cost for the hotels and a big problem. The third sector is the banking and financial or fintech sector. Banks, as we all know, are being disrupted by new innovative services, and banks are not quick to move, and they have IT systems that makes it even more difficult. So we found a space where we can help existing banks combat this disruption. And those are the three factors, the three problems that we are trying to help our clients solve. So in the airline industry, the solution is for airlines to use our technology to transform a program from being based on your travel pattern to being an everyday loyalty program. That means that you, as an infrequent flyer, that you can earn points on your daily shopping and dining and other activities. That makes the program much more relevant for you because you can basically shop and dine your way to a free ticket. And it activates these 80% of travelers who are not, or the online travel agents have, and increases the direct bookings for the hotels. For every direct booking they get, in addition to loyalty, etc., they save 18-19% in commission. So this is hugely valuable for the hospitality industry. For the banks, we provide a plug-and-play software, modern software solution that enables them to give you, as a bank customer, extra value services. Most banks we talk to globally see this primarily in step one as their card business. So any credit card that's issued, they want to do something towards. But they also see it as a good platform to use for a general loyalty program in the banking and financial sector. The platform that we have built, LoyaltyFacts, is global. It's completely software as a service. And it's basically a hub that connects any store on the planet with any cardholder on the planet. So Anybody who has a MasterCard, a Visa, or an Amex card, and we plan for 2022 also Union Pay, which is quite important in China and Asia. Anybody who has a card can be linked up to our client's program instantly. So for example, if SAS, which is a customer, they wanted to start expanding the program into the UK, anybody in the UK could join up. Anybody who had a MasterCard, Visa, or Amex could join up instantly. The second key feature we offer is that this also applies to any store or web shop that you can then shop at and earn points. It's not completely instant, but it's within 24 hours. This means that our clients, by using our software, can simply connect any store they want to any member they want without having to worry about any software. We have taken care of all that. One of the key other parameters we offer is the quick time to market, because we've already done all this integration. There's a huge amount of compliance and complexity. And basically, we take a lot of really complicated tasks and make it easy for our clients. As you can see on the little diagram, it's also very modular in build. So we offer from one end to the other the whole process if the clients want that, or they can take specific modules and use that in their business, whichever fits best. So the modular build we have is quite a competitive edge. There's a lot of compliance. Of course, we're PCI, which is the payment industry compliance. We're what's called level 1, which is by far the highest. We are of course compliant with GDPR, and in other countries, for example, as India and Australia, there is GDPR-like laws that we have to abide by. We are approved by open banking by the Danish Financial Authority. That means that we can access any account in the EU on behalf of our clients to augment the offering that the clients have. In all our solutions, our client is the owner of the data, and that is of course hugely valuable for them. You can say one of the best cases we've had is a client we had in Australia who really used this data in order to make their one-to-one communication with their members better. This data is a treasure trove for these clients. And if you have followed the discussions during the pandemic in different sectors, but especially in the airline sector, for example, the value of these loyalty programs is huge. For example, in America, it was actually the reason the government would bail out the airlines, were that they could have collateral in the loyalty program. So this data has a huge value for our clients. Our clients think our platform is super user-friendly, and they like it. So basically, we offer a plug-and-play compliance solution that they can get into market quickly, and it's adaptable to their specific business needs. With the very limited sales force we have been able to deploy so far, we think we have gotten some very interesting clients. The first large client we got was SAS about 4 years ago. So we run the part of Eurobonus. It's called Eurobonus Every Day, which is where you can earn points on dining and daily activities. The next large client we got was Velocity, which is the loyalty program for Virgin Australia. That is currently paused because of the COVID situation, but expected to restart in 2022. The next one was then Etihad Airways, which is one of the leading airlines in the world. Currently, the program is running in Abu Dhabi, waiting to be expanded out post-COVID. Because we won the Etihad competition, so to speak, we got the attention of a very large company in the UAE called Aldar that operates about 25 shopping malls. And together with them, we've developed quite an innovative solution for shopping malls. I mean, I know that's outside our focus, but we actually liked it so much, so we went into this with them. Then we have bank clients, and we have auto associations, etc. By far the largest and most complex client we have is Aktier, which is one of the largest hotel chains in the world. And they operate, I'm sure you know some of these brands. They have 72 million members in their program, Aktier All, and it was beginning to be rolled out when COVID hit. And we are currently in 15 countries, but have basically only scratched the surface on rolling out this program. So we see a lot of market opportunities. We of course see scaling up the clients we have. and especially Etihad and Accor has a huge upside post-COVID. But sort of the key verticals we have attacked are the airline, banks, and hospitality. We have gotten a lot of interest from payment schemes. So MasterCard and Visa, who we are hooked up to as a customer, actually also wants to be our customer, and that is currently an ongoing negotiation, and hopefully we can address that better after the IPO. We have gotten a lot of interest from telcos or telecom operators, but we've simply not had the resources sales-wise to target that. Then we have had the two new ones I shortly mentioned. One is malls, which is a sector we would really like to expand into. We think the program running now in these big malls in the UAE is easy, or relatively easy to export to other countries. So that's one sector we would want to really emphasize hopefully post this successful IPO. And then we have the auto associated market. So we have a lot of verticals that we've defined and where we know we are of interest that we want to attack post IPO. The business model we have is that we want to have a win-win relationship or partnership with our customers. So it is a recurring revenue model that's based on a percentage of sales. So we get between 0.4 and 1.2% of the sales that are generated by our solution. And then we have some minimum monthly guarantees if the program doesn't perform. That's the key revenue that we make, and that's what we build the business on. Then in addition, for most clients, we are able to charge an implementation or startup fee, but that varies a lot on the client. Of course, in the early days, it was quite difficult for us to negotiate this. It has become easier, and as we grow, it will likely become even easier. But again, the key is the recurring revenue. An important part of our model is that the merchants are funding the rewards. So the program owner, for example, if you stay with the SAS program, if you get points on SAS for flying, that is something SAS gives to you that has a cost to SAS, and they have to book that in their annual report. Now, in our solution, it's the partner merchants that pay for the rewards. So if you use your bonus every day and go out shopping, it is not actually the store. If you go to Hestens and buy a bed and you get a certain amount of your bonus points, it is actually Hestens who pay for the rewards. So it's a very attractive model for our client, in this case SAS or Accor, who it might be. And then we have a super scalable business model because it's a percentage of sales. And then the technology we have is also super scalable. We are lucky in a sense in being new, because the technology we use is the latest, and we've seen that gives us an advantage over older competitors who are stuck a little in old technology that's really not applicable to the way things are today. We of course have competitors, and this is difficult to quantify, because if you just say who is in loyalty, that can be anybody from sending out an email or to a CRM system. But if we focus on sort of the space we're in, where it's a software as a service for very large multinational clients, then the key competitors we have are the ones way up on the right. So it's an American or Canadian listed company called Points, which have been in this business for a long time. They operate a slightly different business model than we do, because they do things in their own name. Excuse me. But otherwise, other than that, they are what I would see as our main competitor. In the States, there's also a company called Orsio, which has a subsidiary called FIG, F-I-G-G. They are also in a similar space where we are, but they are more over in the employee benefits and things. But they could also be a close competitor one day. If we should do a few more, then Fidel down on the right is a UK scale-up, which builds some of the things we do. So they provide the technical capability to hook up to MasterCard, Visa, and Amex, and then a company can build upon that. So they provide an API where you can connect to the payment schemes, but you have to build the rest yourself. So when we are up against them, which is not that often, but I always say they build a really good engine, but we build a car. Then we have two competitors, one which you may know because it's listed in Sweden, Awardit, and Loylogic. Loylogic is a private Swiss company that's quite large. They are both sort of they are in a very different space of loyalty. So they are quite similar, but we can take Awardit as an example. They started within the employee benefits and doing points on internet surveys, etc. Then they acquired a company called Crossroads, which is very similar to LoyLogic, which basically builds an infrastructure so airlines and other loyalty programs can have a web shop where you can buy physical goods for points. So it's more a logistics business than it is a software as a service business. Now, both of them have slowly ventured into our part of the world where it's linked to payments. I have noticed that Awardit has acquired a Danish gift card company now. So we're keeping an eye on both of them, and they will likely migrate over towards where we are, because that's the attractive part of the business. Ours is a pure software as a service business. That is, all other things being equal, much more attractive than having sort of a semi-logistics business as well. So our platform sets it apart. Our global reach, we have global agreements with all the payment schemes, which is very uncommon. We of course have amassed a huge know-how, and then now clients like the business model where we sort of on a percentage of sales. Pardon me. At the end of the day, it's of course all about the team that needs to execute the plan. I have tried a lot in my career, and I think this is one of the best teams I've worked with. So Jens, our CTO, has been here for about 10 years. Jane, who runs the daily business, has been here for a little over 5, and Pernille, who is here today, have been here since December and is our CFO. We took a decision 6 years ago to only have IT developers in-house here in Copenhagen, and we will stick with that because it gives a lot of flexibility and it gives a lot of high quality products. It is, of course, in salary more expensive than outsourcing to low-wage countries, but it's a model we have opted for, and it simply works for us. Pardon me. The financial plan is, as you have probably read, to raise 40 million roughly in round 1, with 30 million as warrants in a year. Year 1 here is the first year post, hopefully, a successful IPO, so let's say from July 1. Compared to now, year 1 would mean that we would have to more or less double our revenue. So it's not super ambitious given the clients we currently have. So in year 1 and year 2, the main driver of our growth is actually scaling up the existing clients, and then new clients will kick in. We have made a plan, of course, and the maximum cash burn we will have if we roll out the plan fully is 38 million in month 18. Given that we use almost all the proceeds for scaling up sales, it is very flexible for us to adjust according to how things are going. So it's not a question of taking a huge amount of money and pouring down in a hole and building a black box. That has been done. It's a question of going out and making more sales of it. So it's very flexible in adjusting along the way. Briefly on everybody's favorite subject here, Corona. On some clients have been hit quite hard, like Aktier. So there, in this period, we've had the minimum guarantee, which means that that we've had revenue enough to be basically cash flow neutral, and then we have the upside coming post-COVID when the program is rolled out. We have one client actually. We have 2 clients who actually, despite COVID, is above budget. One is especially interesting. Despite COVID, they have performed better with our technology in 2020, when there was COVID, than they did in 2019 with another technology. The revenue for us, which is three quarters on March 31, we were actually up 24% despite the COVID situation. When we talk to pipeline clients, the airlines are now beginning to be able to look post-COVID. Not all of them, but they are beginning to start talking again. In fintech, we haven't really seen any impact of COVID. We're still carrying on conversations, except for Australia and New Zealand. And for other verticals or other clients we talk to, it's very, very individual. So some are ready to start looking at the plans. They see an opportunity in the crisis, so we talk to them. Some are more cautious. The market is so large that it doesn't really matter for us. We can just go to the next one because the markets are so large. The offer is, of course, as it is in the prospectus, but I thought I would just briefly touch on how we came onto the valuation. So basically, there are two models or two standard models for valuating a company like ours that is software as a service. The most common one is probably taking the next 12 months revenue and then multiplying by this standard multiplier more or less of 8 or 7.9. That would have given a valuation of 188 million Swedish. We decided to be a little more conservative and take the last month, so the realized result for the last 12 months, and then multiply by the standard 7.9. That then gives a 157 million valuation. We then rounded that down to 150. We like to be a little cautious and conservative in our approach to life. The use of the proceeds, as I briefly mentioned, it's mainly sales. So if this all goes well, we will ramp up the sales department, and that goes both on existing clients and on new clients. And that is where the vast majority of the revenue will go. We will set off probably 10% specifically to research and development on our platform. And then we, of course, have to opt up on the operations as well. But it is mainly the sales force that will benefit from the proceeds from the IPO. And the final question, why should you consider investing? Well, our humble opinion is we have the platform in the market. We believe we have the global brands that are the needed reference. I mean, none of these brands would work for us if we didn't perform. We see, correctly or incorrectly, but we see a huge market opportunity. And there's a very large first mover advantage. The IT company that gets a client basically has the client for a very, very long time. The downside of this is the sales cycles are quite long. So from the initial time we talk to a client till we have a contract, it's often a year. So that's also why it's expensive to fund scaling up the sales force, which is a key reason for the IPO. So it's long lead times, but once we have the client, it's very sticky. We have a plan, and more importantly, we truly believe we have the right team to execute the plan. And when scaled, this model where we have a percentage of sales where people go shopping, that is really interesting. I mean, I sit sometimes in a platform and look, and I can see that when people shop in the Yas Mall down in Abu Dhabi, then there's revenue for Loyal Solutions every time they swipe their card. That's actually quite interesting. And then maybe one thing that's a little bit different now from us versus a normal scale up is that our revenue growth comes mainly the first 2 years from clients we already have. So it's not a question of us first having to run out and get new clients, which we all know is more difficult. So we have a two-track tier to achieving our revenue goals. One is the existing clients, and the other one is, of course, like any scale up, getting new clients. So we believe we can become the global market leader, but we need funding and we need your help. So questions, please.
Thank you very much for that presentation. We go to the Q&A part. And we got some questions. You already talked a little bit about it, but you will have to develop them. So the first question is about the IPO. You are now doing an IPO. Why is now a good timing, and what will the money primarily be used for?
Yes, to take the last part of the question first, the money will mainly be used for scaling up sales. You're looking at the sales department. It's me, half time. So I need some help, and we see huge opportunities because we have reference customers. So, I mean, there are limits to what we can do with the resources we have now. So the vast majority will go to scaling up the sales department. And then the following scale up things will be depending on getting a client. Why is the timing correct now? Well, it's a little bit egotistical. Step one, it was because we think now we have the reference clients that we needed to do an IPO. And we had a lot of discussions on the board back in last autumn, you know, because of COVID and where are we, etc. But we decided we could have waited, and we would definitely next year have a higher valuation because we would have more revenue. But we all agreed that there would be an upside on our clients post the COVID. And then we decided, okay, we would rather have the funding now and then be really ready post-COVID to scale up than wait and then have to go through the whole IPO process. So that was sort of the main things for us. I realize for investors, the COVID situation is a little bit unclear. It is for all of us. But I mean, and it's an individual opinion, but I do see light at the end of the tunnel, at the end of this year. And that is also what I hear from our large airline clients and from the hospitality clients.
Thank you. I've got a question about how you're working in a big geographical market. How is it possible to work with such a small sales force, or what's the plan going forward there?
Yeah, so I was a black member at SAS with all my flying, getting these clients. The plan going forward is to address each vertical. It's very important that in each vertical we have industry knowledge. So the next 2-3 people that we will get in, we will go for the best person for one of these verticals we have targeted. Now let's assume that would be shopping malls. Then the plan is, okay, this person, if we find the right person, let's say in the EU, then that will be the first market. Then we will go for Asia as the second market. That can be done either by somebody traveling a lot like I did, or we find the right person in, let's say, Singapore, then we will have an office there. So the plan on scaling is very sector specific and geographically specific. Basically, if you see the 5 key industries we want to go into, and then the 2 main geographies right now is the EU, Middle East, Africa as one, and Asia Pacific as another one, and then the US and South America as sort of a phase 2.
Thank you. You already mentioned it a little bit, but I've got a question about the difference between you and the Swedish company Awardit. Can you develop a little bit around that so people understand?
Yeah, so Awardit, when they went public, 3 years ago, they were mainly in the employee benefits. So a company can sign up and then the employees get discounts in different stores. That was their main business back then. Then they acquired a company called Crossroads, which actually runs a solution for SAS as well. Crossroads was a large acquisition for Awardit. Crossroads runs a web shop where you, with points from any airline basically, can buy physical goods, and then they take care of all the logistics and all the sales process and all the delivery and all that. So it's a buying of physical goods with airline points. Let's put it that way. Awardit has said that they are looking into the space we're in, which is a software as a service based on the payment space, and they have just acquired this Danish gift card company 2-3 weeks ago, which indicates that they're looking in our direction. Let's put it that way. So the main difference is, I think Awardit has done really well, but they are more, let's call it, a mixed bag of loyalty offerings, where we are very focused on software as a service. Also, we are very focused on large multinational clients, where Awardit seems to be more focused in the Nordics.
Thank you. And we got one last question then, that is a little bit about the competitive landscape that you talk about, but also what kind of threats you are possibly seeing post-corona.
Yeah, one threat, of course, is that we are wrong that things will pick up after corona. I think that's a threat in every industry, right? I mean, and I'm quite sure that that's, for example, leisure travel will pick up quickly. Business travel may pick up slower. So there may be a slow pickup, but that actually speaks positively towards the loyalty programs, because then the airlines need to focus more on that. Then we can have some regulatory threats in some countries, but that's more something that our clients are a little concerned about. Us coming from a GDPR landscape, I mean, we already know all these things and we know how to handle this. So our clients see it as a threat. We don't really, and we can do, for example, one of the unique things about our platform is we can store data in different locations in one platform. So for example, American data, this is a concrete example from a client. American members' data is stored in the US. The EU members are stored in the EU, of course, and the Australian members are stored in Australia. but the client has a single view of this. There can be regulatory threats towards the payment schemes, maybe. I don't really see that coming in our direction, but of course they are subject to regulations in some countries. Then there's a threat we don't perform. We will definitely do our best to mitigate that. There will be competitors. This is, in my view, a very attractive part of the loyalty space because, I mean, when you can have revenue because somebody shops in a mall in Sydney or a mall in Abu Dhabi, that's an attractive business proposition for anyone, I think. So some of these competitors we talked about, they will move, in my view, will move into our sector more and more. And we have to respect them because they're all very well-run companies. But my fallback, so to speak, is the market is so huge. And so I don't see it as a big concern on our part. But of course, we're very keen we keep an eye on it.
Thank you very much. With that, we come to an end to today's presentation. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Peter and Pernille, and I wish you good luck going forward.
Very good.
Thank you.